Hi, Drew from the Security 5 podcast for Wiser Training. So as a parent of a young video gamer, as well as a gamer myself, I wanted to create a security video that gives some very easy to implement tips to help protect your gamer's identity, your identity, and potentially your financial data as we play these interconnected games. So the games today are not like what they are when I grew up, where there are a bunch of kids around a console and a TV, and that was the extent of it. Today the games are global. They're on the internet, which means your players as well as yourself are exposed to tens of thousands of people around the world. And unfortunately, not all of them are out there to play the game. There are those out there who look to rip you off, to scam you, and to look to steal your identity data or worse. So here are some easy to implement tips as a parent to a young gamer that I would recommend to help protect your data. The first tip is that a lot of the games, like the ones behind me, require individual accounts set up with the manufacturers of the games. That means if they play more than one game, that means you're going to have an account for each one of the makers, and they're not all the same, they don't share. Now you'll have a console account, but you're also going to have a secondary account. Now as a parent, I would recommend that you set up a separate email account that you control, and you set up the account on these gaming websites for your child. Your child doesn't have the username and password for these accounts, because that is the key to the in-game currencies, to the scams, and to the identity data that the scammers are going after. The kids can't turn it over if they don't own the keys. You own the keys. That's the first one. The second one, on these accounts, enable multi-factor authentication. And really that tip I would apply to any account that you have that supports it. If it enables multi-factor and that's there, turn it on. And what is multi-factor? Multi-factor is you get a text message with a code when you log into a system. So if you have the username and password, you also need the cell phone to log in as the second factor. So if your passwords are compromised, that's not enough. Your accounts are still protected because you're going to have the cell phone. I would recommend that you do that and the code goes to your cell phone, not your child's. The third tip is on these profiles, don't use personally identifiable information of any kind to create the gamer tags. Don't use first names, last names, birth years, address numbers, phone numbers, cities, anything that identifies that it's a child, or if it's a girl or boy, or what city you live in. All of that is identifiable and can be used for social engineering or social hacking. There's no reason for it. Make something up. Most of the games that I play under, it's called Binary Blogger is my handle. I use a lot of other ones, but again, it's not my real information. As a side tip, when you go in and create the user accounts on these websites, they're going to ask for first name, last name, and a bunch of other identifiable information. There is no rule that says that you have to use real information. So for your child's account, use Bob Smith, John Doe, anything but the real name. There's no reason for them to have your child's name. There's no rule to say that you have to. Don't do it. Make something up if it requires it. And lastly, be aware of the scams that are out there. Talk to your children about it. Show them this video. Show them there's hundreds of other videos out there that have examples of it, but basically here's the most popular scam. All of these games, like the one behind me, have in-game currency or in-game credits. Sometimes it's called V-Bucks, sometimes it's called credits, sometimes it's called whatever they call it. It's in-game tokens, and what those tokens or credits are used for is to buy skins, costumes, extra features, dances, whatever. Here's the tip, and here's what it's very important that you need to be aware of. In-game currency can only be purchased from the game manufacturers, from the gaming system itself. All of the scams and videos, and they're very, very convincing. If they say forward this and you'll get 10,000 credits, forward this and you'll get 1,000,000 credits, follow this, retweet this, follow me, do this, or worse, hey, I like what you have, drop it and exchange it, give me your account information, I will then transfer X number of credits for you. All of those are scams. They don't exist. They're very convincing. The video sites out there are doing a very poor job of cracking those down, but every time you see, hey, do this and get free credits or free V-Bucks, it's a scam. It doesn't exist. And remember, if it sounds too good to be true on the internet, it is. There's no such thing as free in-game credits. The only way to get them is to buy them directly. So here in summary, here's what you need to do. Parents, you create the accounts, don't give the keys to the children or to your kids or to young players. Enable multi-factor authentication. Don't use personal identifiable information in the gamer tags, and be aware of the scams, because ultimately, parents, if your credit card is tied to those accounts in order for your children to buy those types of in-game credits and those accounts are hacked, it's your financial data that's at risk as well. It's your accounts, your money. You're the one that's going to feel the pain right away. Your children's data doesn't, what they do is they steal the children's data and they sit on it for a while, for 5-10 years, until they start opening up their own bank accounts and opening up their own credit cards. Now they have some social engineering capabilities to come back later, and by then it's long gone. You completely forgot about it. That's how these things work. And remember, like I say to everybody, the more aware you are, the more secure you can be. And be aware and be safe. This is Security in 5 for Wiser Training. Thanks for watching.